So I remember back when I first seen the trailer for this, like many people, my first reaction was fairly negative. Not only because of the initial design they went with, but as we all know, video game-based movies are usually utter trash. But to my surprise, Sonic the Hedgehog the movie is a pleasant surprise. But is it a good movie? Let's find out. So, Sonic the Hedgehog stars Jim Carrey, James Marsden, and you have Ben Schwartz as the voice of Sonic, directed by Jeff Fowler. So the basic story is that Sonic is on the run as these particular creatures from his planet are after him to basically try and steal his powers. So he's sent to Earth with these magical rings that allow him to port to other planets if he's ever discovered. Unfortunately, whilst on Earth, he loses the rings and he has to go on the hunt for them. And then you have Dr. Robotnik, played by, of course, Jim Carrey, who also wants a piece of Sonic too, and he teams up with James Marsden to try and take him down. Now, as far as I'm aware, and for me, it's the only time I've actually witnessed a studio listening to the outcry of fans and actually making a physical change to the design of the main character in the film. I mean, I've got to give him credit for doing that. It was such a noble gesture and choice they made to actually listen to fans and make a change of the, obviously, the actual design of Sonic. Now, if I'm honest, I'm not 100% happy with the final design they went with, but it's leagues better than the first one they went with. I wanted it to resemble the design from the games more, because in the games he always look cool and badass, but in the film he looks too childlike and cute, I think. So, sticking with some of the negatives, the story is very simplistic, although that aspect of it can be forgiven, as I wasn't expecting any kind of super elaborate plot in a Sonic movie. Though it could have explored the character more, it does give us a little bit of backstory, which I liked, so there was a bit of substance there in that respect. Unfortunately as well, I did find Sonic a little bit annoying as well. Most of the time he was acting like this sort of frantic, hyperactive kid. But about halfway through you do sort of get used to it. I also was expecting Jim Carrey to be funnier as well, and some of his jokes were pretty awkward. There were a few lines of humour that just really fell really flat. But for the most part he was really entertaining to watch, as you'd expect. Seeing him in this kind of role after so many years also felt quite nostalgic within itself. I was also hoping for more references to the old games, and there was one part in the film where they had a good opportunity where they could have incorporated some of the levels from the first two games as potential kind of like set pieces, but they didn't. So I was a little disappointed with that. In fact, I think it could have worked better if it was maybe a fully animated feature, like along the lines of the style of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. That would be like keeping it kid-friendly, of course, but with a more mature animation style to satisfy adults alike. That too would also be dope! So going into some positives, I did love the action scenes. They were all pretty thrilling to behold, but even more to my surprise, even some of the dialogue was actually pretty decent. Overall, had a fairly solid script. Performances as well were as good as they needed to be, and I think the animation of Sonic blended in well with the live action. It did have a bit of heart in there as well with regards to the journey and arc that Sonic goes on, and even did hit the feels a little bit at one point with his themes it touches on, such as loneliness and the sort of value of friendship. So yeah, overall it wasn't the pile of shit I was expecting it to be. It's a perfectly enjoyable watch, not just for kids, but should satisfy anyone who grew up with the games as well. So now to the score. I think I would give it a 6 out of 10, above average. Wasn't entertaining and fun watch, but by no means a great movie. But it does have its fair share of charm and enjoyment. Couldn't really ask for much more with a film of this sort, really. As far as I know, with general audience, it's doing pretty well, and not too bad with critics as well. So yeah, if you've seen it, let me know your thoughts on it. But if you haven't seen it, I do recommend it. Like I said, it's a very perfectly entertaining watch, very, very charming, very enjoyable. But for now, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. You've been watching Feature Creature. I shall catch you next time.